Hey guys, let's talk about tonight's episode of The Arrow, and a lot went down. Diggle got married. Ray found out that Oliver is the Arrow, and of course we had our end resolution. Not really a resolution, but we had one of the Suicide Squad appear to be dead. Well, I don't know if he really is, but it'll be interesting. And Maceo has Felicity in his crosshairs. So yes, a lot went down. Diggle and Lila got married at the top of the episode. Ray officiated the wedding because their minister couldn't make it. Then Diggle and Lila get taken by the Suicide Squad on a mission. They have to go save a senator who's been, I guess we are to believe that he is being held hostage in a terrorist attack. And it turns out that the senator is actually in on all the gig and that they're mercenaries, and that what he wanted to do was he wanted to make it seem like he was being held hostage and then save the day so that he could run for president. So when the Suicide Squad showed up, they foiled his plans. Then he tried to kill everybody and explode the place, and that just didn't go down the way it did. But at the end of it, Deadshot, who was one of the members in the Suicide Squad, was pretty much held to blame for the whole attack. And what we believe is, I guess, let himself die on the building when it exploded. Do I really think Deadshot is dead? No. Why? Because we did not see a dead body. And if there's never a body, then that usually means that they're not dead. But this was a good episode. I really did enjoy it. We got a lot of stuff going on. Ray was using his Atom machine, and when he realized that Oliver was the Arrow, he was set against revealing his identity to the police and taking him down. So I thought it was a really great scene when we actually saw him. I mean, we've seen him once before use the Atom, and, it was very, playful kind of. But this time it was actually in action. So that was kind of cool. And we saw what he could do with it. And he used some of the devices to what looked like kind of like shooting, I wouldn't say lightning bolts, but like rays at at Roy. And he tumbled into a fence and knocked him down. And then he swept over and knocked over Oliver. But then Oliver did a couple of little arrows into his machine, and it pretty much shut down the power. So he was kind of useless after that. And I afterwards when Felicity went to see him, he's like, yeah, I've got a bruised ego. I've got a bruised this. I've got a bruised that. It was like I got a bruised rotator cuff. It's yeah, because he's not a trained fighter or anything. He just has this suit, which is supposed to, he can fly all over the place and he can shoot out all this stuff to protect himself. But if it goes down, he's just a man wearing a suit that can't fight. So I thought that was pretty funny. So when he came face to face with Oliver in the Arrow suit, Oliver was pretty much telling him, look, you won Felicity. Trust her when she tells you that I am not the guilty party here. Because Ray thinks that Oliver is going around killing all of these, I guess they're not innocent people, they're criminals, but that's what he believes. So, by the end of the episode, he is squarely on Team Felicity and believing what she's saying. And you know what? At the end of the day, I really do like Felicity and Ray. I think they've got great chemistry. I think that dynamic works really well. We had a lot of scenes with Oliver gazing over at Felicity at the wedding in her red dress. Then we had another scene with him and her having a big old conversation about obviously the fact that Ray found out who Oliver was and then he wanted to take him down. And then the fact that Felicity has known for a while now that he's been making this Atom suit and she didn't reveal this information to Oliver. So he got upset about that. And then she was like, oh, you really want him to die because that way he's sort of out of the picture because you don't really want me with him. And so, we had a lot of those kind of conversations back and forth between Oliver and Felicity. And at the end of the day, he basically gave Felicity his blessing, like he has to. No. But he gave her his blessing for her to go and be with Ray and, enjoy that relationship because at the end of the day, he can give Felicity what she wants, which is somebody who wants to be like a partner, a trusted friend, an ally, and a love interest at the same time. So all of these things that she wants with Oliver, he's not going to give her, because he's even said, I can't be with you if I'm saving the city. So, and what Oliver points out is that Ray is going to realize that he's going to want the same thing, but he just doesn't know it yet. He's too new at this. So once he realizes all that will manifest by being in this Atom suit and trying to save the city, he's not going to have time, not really time, but he's not going to want to put Felicity in harm's way. And it's only going to be a matter of time before he realizes that. So there. We'll see if Oliver's right. I have a feeling he will be, but let's just see how it all plays out. So, we had, of course, Diggle and Lila having their own little issues once they got on site to this fake, I guess, terrorist attack, and realizing that the place was going to blow up. They're both realizing, like, look, we just got married. This was supposed to be their honeymoon, but that's all shot to the, but they have a baby at home. And so their realization is that we don't want to orphan our child. We want to be there for her, and we can't if we're both in these crazy lives. So Diggle says that he's going to quit the Arrow, Team Arrow, and she being Lila, says that she handed in her resignation for the Suicide Squad. So, is that really going to stick? I don't know. Because by the end of the episode, Diggle's like, we've got to take down this person who's impersonating you. So maybe that will be his last task before he quits the Arrow. Because he didn't mention anything to Oliver about him wanting to quit the Arrow task force. So we'll see what happens. I found it interesting in this episode that we had flashbacks to Deadshot's character in this episode. I mean, we've rarely had that. We've had an episode with Felicity's flashbacks, and really that's, correct me if I'm wrong, and then we've also had Laurel's flashbacks in episodes in season 2, but we've never really focused on anybody else. So the fact that they did flashbacks on Deadshot and seeing, that he was pretty much somebody who came back from war, had some serious PTSD. He couldn't really relate to his family. Then he pulled a gun on her and was crazy, and then she had like a restraining order, and then he ended up getting arrested, and then that is how he became part of the Suicide Squad. And his first task, or his first mission, was to kill Diggle's brother. So that is how all that transpired, and why Diggle and him have this long history of distrust. But they really did work well together in this episode, so I thought that was good. So, again, do I believe that Deadshot is dead? No, but we'll see how that all plays out. So, yeah, it was a pretty solid episode. And then, of course, at the beginning of the episode, we saw, Oliver, or not Oliver, but the Arrow confront the fake Arrows, and we realized that Maceo is the one. Well, in the last week's episode, it was Ra's al Ghul. But in this week's episode, it was Maceo sending out his, army of bandits in the fake Arrow out uniforms. And they were going around arrowing all these criminals. And so, of course, when Oliver caught up with them, he has this conversation with Maceo, like, I can't believe that you're actually doing this. You're killing all these people. And he's like, what is all this for? And he's like, basically, this is my mission. You need to come and be Ra's al Ghul, and this is what it's going to take to do it. And Oliver's not backing down from saying no, that he doesn't want to be the new Ra's al Ghul. And obviously, Maceo has been tasked to do this, so he's going to continue on this path. So by the end of the episode now, we have Ray basically taking back all the things that he said about Oliver, because he did a press conference where he was saying that the Arrow is a vigilante and that he needs to be taken down, but now he's taking back what he had to say, and he's in front of Laurel and Quentin, and then I believe he was in front of, like, the police chief, the woman. I'm not sure who she was. Sorry, guys. You can leave leave who she was in the comments. But as she's, basically saying to Ray, like, why are you taking all this back? And he's like, well, I've just come to realize that, this isn't actually the Arrow. He's being set up. And then, boom, she gets hit with an arrow in the chest, dies right in front of everybody. And then we see it's Maceo who is shooting the arrow. And then as his next target, we see, obviously, Felicity in his crosshairs. So that is how it ends. That was actually a really good ending. I like that. But we'll see what's going to happen next week. Do we think that Felicity is going to get shot with an arrow? No. Is Oliver going to swoop in at the right time to save the day? Maybe. But we'll see how that's going to play out. I thought it was interesting that they decided not to give us any more information regarding Oliver's flashbacks to Hong Kong. And obviously the big reveal in last week's episode was Shadow being in Hong Kong and Oliver seeing her. Is she an apparition? Is she real? Like, what's up with that? We need some answers, people, right now. And it needs to be a very good explanation as to how Shadow is still alive. So, yeah. A lot went down. I thought it was a pretty solid episode. I liked all the stuff with the Suicide Squad. I liked all the stuff going on with Oliver. Obviously, still not struggling, but he knows what's going on. He knows who's trying to frame him. He knows that it's the League of Assassins, but he's not backing down. He does not want to become the new Ra's al Ghul, and he's going to do whatever he can to save the city and not become who Ra's al Ghul wants him to be. Pretty solid episode. We'll see what happens next week. Let me know what you guys thought of this week's episode. Leave a comment and like. Oh, I like that Laurel had like a little hand brace on her arm, on her wrist. So she's told Oliver now that she's got a new female trainer. He doesn't know who it is. So I like that. Obviously, we're realizing that Laurel is training behind the scenes with Nyssa, but that hasn't been revealed to Oliver and the rest of the group. And I like that Roy's reaction to Ray's Adam suit was like, he was like very like, oh, that's really cool. But then when Oliver turned on, he was like, he's trying to shut it down, like what he said. So I thought all that was really funny because, I was like, why not be impressed by this guy who's made an Adam machine that has like face recognition software and can do all this stuff. Like, that's pretty cool. So the fact that Ray has, I would say not successfully, because obviously Oliver the Arrow was able to shut down his machine pretty quickly, but he's on the right path to having this device that will be able to go around the city and hopefully save the people of Central City. Starling City. Sorry, Central is the Flash. Okay, guys, that's it for me. I'll see you next week. Bye.